And if you count conception, which the Republicans do, as the start of my life, then I'm actually 43. Welcome, Negronis with Nord, episode 102. We're doing a double filming this week. Obviously, I'm going to be in Cannes, as we discussed in the last video. We are filming twice. I am bringing all of the energy for you, so it feels like the very first time, and this is the only episode we're filming this week, right? What's been going on in the last 2 days since I last filmed with you? I would say I had my first Guinness in maybe 20 years last night. Tim, who used to sit behind the camera here for Drink with James and Negroni with Nords for years, gave me my first Negroni. Tim also was the person that made me drink my first martini. You know, he's been a big beverage influence on my life. So first Negroni, first martini, and Tim has been drinking a lot of Guinness in the last year. Obviously, Guinness has been having a great year generally. You can throw some graphics up. They're growing like crazy.
Everybody loves Guinness.
I love Guinness.
Yeah, everybody's let the G.
No, I mean, I always try to, but it's...
I can,
Every time?
pretty much.
Are you joking?
I mean, it depends on how many I've had.
Yeah.
Everyone's splitting the G. He was insistent after dinner that we go try it. I had a Guinness. It was fine. It was less gross than I remember. It was lighter than I remember it being. It probably took me an hour to drink one, and so like it's warm by the end, but it doesn't really matter. I didn't feel that full. A more pleasant experience than I expected, but maybe not something I'm going to return to. Also, at the bar last night, Tim walked us through a few magic tricks. I was thinking fondly of my time taking magic lessons in a Starbucks on 6th Avenue, but I don't really drink alcoholic beer. I feel like athletics is crushing. No, so it was nothing like drinking my first Negroni or my first martini, which was like the heavens parting. You know, I really felt like I found a friend there. Okay, today we're doing something a little different. We're going to check in on some of the 2025 predictions that I made back in December. If you haven't seen that episode, you can go watch it. Aaron recently watched it. He said it was entertaining. So we're just going to run through. We're halfway through the year. Let's see how we are doing. My first prediction, TikTok will be banned.
Hello everyone, this is Aaron from the Edit Bay here. I made a mistake and wrote down that TikTok will be banned in James's notes before the show, when in the video he predicted that TikTok will not be banned.
I do not think TikTok will be banned. It seems very much like it is going to be banned.
So technically James is right on this original prediction, but I want you to watch how he spins the prediction he thought he had. Let's take a look.
TikTok is technically banned. Now, they didn't actually take the step to enforce that ban. I'm going to give myself a check on that one. I was right. They did ban it. I could feel it coming. It was happening. Another was less beauty get-readies with me and more clothing get-readies with me. This is not data-driven. This is only my own experience. I feel like that's also true. I feel like we continue to see more and more people doing clothing get-ready with me's. Come with me as I get ready for this. I'm seeing less pure play beauty get readies with me than I did a few years ago. Prediction 3 was that Ozempic was going to enter the health space. Basically just Ozempic was going to continue to become more socially acceptable. I absolutely know for a fact a lot more people are taking Ozempic, although I don't think it is still being talked about on the internet as much as I thought. I am sure there are a lot of creators who are taking it and they are not talking about it. So I'm going to say that one has not come true. More people are taking Ozempic, yes, but I'm surprised it is not being talked about on the internet more. Brands will pivot to right of center. A little more difficult to quantify. Podcast bros, that whole ecosystem is only more powerful. We are seeing more and more interest in these right-coded spaces. Cowboys, homesteading, trad wife. People continue to move to Texas, Florida, Utah. I do think this is happening more. I do think that brands have a larger appetite to work with not full-on MAGA influencers, but more right-leaning spaces and showing up in right-leaning spaces. If not for Trump being Trump and his string of very interesting policy choices he's made since taking office, I think we'd see brands going harder. More platforms will gain influence, Substack, YouTube, blogs. Absolutely. I'm going to give myself a big check on this one. We continue to see the power of Substack creators YouTube is having a real resurgence. YouTube is having a real resurgence. I'm seeing more and more YouTube. We've done a bit more of it. We've been doing more YouTube shorts as well. So I'm going to give myself a check on that one. Rise in 40 plus influencers. Well, as a 41-year-old, which actually depressingly, you know, as a 42-year-old, your age is the year you just lived, not the year you're currently living. I've been alive for 42 years. And if you count conception, which the Republicans do as the start of my life, then I'm actually 43.
Don't depress yourself.
Oh my God, I need Botox. Rise of 40-year-old influencers.
There was a big article on GQ about is it better to be famous in your 50s?
Right? Who expected Walter Goggins' hairline to, you know, carry the flag for male sexiness coming into this year? But I'm not going to give myself a check on that one. I think it is probably true, but it probably has as much to do with the influencer space growing. I haven't seen a huge push from the brand side to work with 40 plus influencers yet. Less influencer trips, more IRL events. I feel like that's true. I actually feel like we still see a good amount of influencer trips.
You guys had a big one with Dick's?
Yeah, but I would say that was like an event as much as a trip, you know. Look, I think events are back in a big way. I'm going to give myself a yes on that. I don't know that there has been a fall in trips versus events. I don't actually know that those two things compete with each other in any real sense. I do think that brands are doing more and more IRL events and pop-ups, and I think that that's going to continue to be really powerful. More people are going to want to be influencers. Of course, who doesn't want to be an influencer? I'm going to say a big yes on that one. There's some interesting data around younger kids wanting to be off their phones, not liking social media, ultimately being famous, getting attention, building a career on the internet, being independent, not working for a company. All of these things are still things that young people and not young people are very interested in. What I've seen is more of my friends who are more my age, who had been in corporate for years, trying to go out on their own and do Substacks. You know, it's less people coming out of college and just trying to be creators, and more people who are maybe exiting the traditional workforce to try and do their own thing. And being a creator is kind of central to that. So I'm going to say yes on that. IG Live being more popular? No. No. Everyone still hates IG Live. So that's a big X, you know. I did not get that one. Live still sucks and people do not like it. Lastly, changing of the guard in the creator sphere. I don't know if there's been, I'm going to give myself a 50-50 on this. I don't know if there's so much been a changing of the guard or as culture continues to fracture into these like, you know, innumerable branches that we don't feel like we need as much of a core set of central figures who represent creators overall, and that there's just more seats at the table to be a leader in this space. Well, look, I have a meeting at 5:30. It is 5:30. That is perfect timing. We will check back in at the end of the year to see how the predictions did overall and give you new ones. As always, like, subscribe, send us questions, comment below, DM us, whatever you want. We will answer them. We'll see you next week.
You're in Cannes right now. So
I'm in Cannes. Yeah. Cheers to that.
Hit him up while he's in Cannes.